welcome back to our channel. It's Bella here. In today's tutorial I created this makeup look for you guys, so if you want to see how I achieved the look, then just go ahead and keep on watching. To be entered in this month's giveaway, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, make sure that you are subscribed to our channel, make sure that you hit that bell button and turn your post notifications on so that you never miss a video, and if you are located in the United States, then comment done down below to be automatically entered. So to prime my eyes, I'm using my Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and I'm just applying it all over my eyelid, and then I always blend it with a damp beauty sponge, and then I set everything in place with translucent powder. So the palette that I went in with today is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina Collection Volume 3, and this is what the palette looks like on the outside. It has a really beautiful butterfly pattern on it, and then when you open it up, this is what it looks like on the inside. I feel like you can create a super neutral look or a super vibrant look with this palette, which I really love when it comes to these Norvina Collection palettes. I feel like all of them you can create a neutral or bright look. So the first shade that I went in with is the shade B5, which is a really muted neutral light brown shade, and I just started putting that in my crease, in the upper crease area, just in that general area. It's just going to be our transition shade, so you don't have to be too precise with this shadow, but I am going in back and forth motions and circular motions just to distribute the product evenly in my crease. Next, I went in with the shade D1, and it's kind of like a mustardy undertone, and it's a little bit darker of a matte brown eyeshadow than the eyeshadow that we previously went in with. And I picked that up with a defined angled brush, and I started to map out where I want to add definition in my crease. And I'm really going to try to slow things down even more for you guys and get a lot more in depth with these tutorials, because I feel like most of the time I just rush through it. But yeah, I like to start off with a medium to like deep eyeshadow just to start slowly building it up. I don't like to just go in straight with the deepest eyeshadow in the palette. So that's why you see me going in with a defined angled brush with a few different shades just to slowly build up that crease. And then I always go back into the transition shade and grab a fluffy brush and just blend that line out in between each application of the darker eyeshadows that I'm going in with, just because I feel like it just gives you a nice blended base to work with, so that when you go in with a deeper eyeshadow, it's a lot easier to blend it out. Next, I'm going in with the shade E2, which is a little bit of a brick red undertone, and I just picked that up with a defined angled brush. I believe this one is from Colourpop, and I absolutely love this shade. It's so rich and so pigmented, and I feel like it just really, I don't really know, it just complements brown eyes really well. And I just applied it directly over top of where we applied that line previously, and I just went in back and forth motions. And as you guys know, I like to apply the eyeshadow a little bit above my actual crease, so that when I open my eye, you can see the eyeshadows in my crease even when my eye is open, if that makes sense. And then I went back into the shade B5 and I blended that line out, going in back and forth motions and circular motions, because even though we want it to be nice and defined, we also want it to be blended. So pretty much every time I go in with a deeper shadow, I always go back into the transition shade that I used first, just to blend everything out and make sure that everything is nice and blended. And I usually go back and forth a few times at depth, and then go back and blend it, at depth, go back and blend it. I actually do it more than I record here on my channel. I pretty much shorten it a little bit so that you guys just get the gist of it. And then I went back into my Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and I just cleaned up all over my lid. And this step is optional. I know this can be very difficult for people that are just starting out, or some people just don't even like how it looks. But I personally think that it just looks super clean and artistic, and I just really love how it looks, so that's why you always see me doing it. And I always go in with some translucent powder to set that in place right after I apply the concealer. And then I went into the shade D1 and I picked up a little bit of a fluffier brush, but still really small and detailed. And I just started to buff that on my lash line, and pretty much I would work with the most amount of product on my brush really close to the lashes, and then when I barely have any product left on my brush, I work it upwards. So that's what you see me doing here, really light tapping motions and just going back and forth. And I feel like just taking your time with this step is going to make this look the most blended. We want a really smoked out blended liner type of look. And then I went into that brick red shade E2, and I did pretty much the same exact thing with this shade, except for I took it with a little bit more of a detailed brush and I focused it really close to my lash line, and I'm pretty much stamping where I would do a liquid liner, just really mapping out where I want my wing to be and just really taking my time with it, going back into the shade and making sure that I have it as pigmented as I want it before blending that out. And because we already have that transition shade packed underneath, it'll be super easy to blend this out, so I'm not too worried about the harsh way that I'm applying it. And then I went back into B5, which is the transition shade that we first went in with, and I'm pretty much going to be blending out that liner. And you guys can just see I'm doing light tapping motions. And I pretty much did the same method where when I had the most amount of product on my brush, I started at the very bottom of where my lash line is, and then I worked my way up doing light tapping motions just to make sure that I don't mess up the cleanness of the cut crease that we created previously. I don't want to mess that up, so I'm just slowly dragging my brush up and blending that line out. And then I applied mascara to my lashes, and I went in with our Sophie Bella lashes. For those of you guys that don't know, Sophie Bella is our lash company, and I'll always leave the link in the description box down below. But the style that I went in with is Barbados, and this style is currently sold out, but a style that's pretty similar is Bora Bora. If you want a dramatic style, that's our next dramatic style from Barbados. And yeah, I'll always leave a link in the description box down below. And I just want to quickly thank those of you guys that have placed an order on our website. It honestly means so much to us. And then I went on to my lower lash line. I went in with the shade D1. And I just went in back and forth motions, mainly focusing it on the outer corner. And I don't like to have too much product on my brush when I'm doing this step, because then you have a lot of fallout, especially if you do your concealer before doing this step like I do. And then I went on to the shade E2, and I focused the shade really close to my lash line because it is super like of a red undertone. I don't want it to be too overpowering, so I just made it really close to my lash line, mainly focusing it on the outer edge once again. And then I went back into that first transition shade with a fluffier brush just to really blend that line out and to give the same amount of smokiness that we have in our crease on our lower lash line, just so that everything is nice and cohesive. And the last thing that I did was I applied some mascara to my lower lashes. And this is the finished look, guys. I really hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for all of your love and support, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!